So, welcome to the qualifying session, the first of two qualifying sessions at the Chang International Circuit at Buriram in Thailand. Cars out on circuit just getting some heat into their tyres. Two 15-minute sessions, and driver number one will be running the first session, driver number two. They all have to be nominated by their teams, and the first set of drivers in qualifying session number one will define the grid for this afternoon's race, which will start at 3:20. And right now, they will define the pole position, who get pole position for that, and then their teammate, driver number two, they will set the grid this afternoon for tomorrow's race, the race on Sunday, which will kick off at 1:30. So it's 3:20 this afternoon for race one and 1:30 tomorrow. Could be very different weather conditions. I just want to point out at race start time this afternoon, yesterday, about 15 minutes, 20 minutes in after the start of the race, had it been yesterday, there was a shower of rain, short and sharp, but it could be a massive factor in these two driver races. Of course, the races are both 1 hour long. The pit stop window starts at 25 minutes into the race and runs for 10 minutes, so it closes with just 25 minutes left in the race. And if the rain falls just before that, that could really sort them out, or in fact, even worse, if it comes just after that and they have to bring their second driver in for a set of wet weather tyres. But right now, looking at a car with two liveries, it should mainly be the graphite grey on the 999 Mercedes, but it shouldn't. The sister car normally has the yellow trim rather than the red, and it's borrowed not just the nose from the sister car, but many, many parts indeed. The 888 entry from Gruppe M Motorsport will not be out until tomorrow. They don't have enough spare parts for both the cars to be running, and so the 888 crew has been sacrificed. The 999, with the driver on board at the moment, Hunter Abbott, he dropped the car in the fast left-hander yesterday. And if you don't know the circuit at all well, that is as you come out of turn 10 and turn towards turn 11. And the damage was enough to put the sister car out until spares will arrive, touching down this evening at 6 o'clock in Bangkok. Another all-nighter for the crew, unfortunately, for Gruppe M Motorsport, and have both cars in tomorrow's race. But for today, all the Gruppe M hopes are pinned on the 999 crew. Tucked in behind the Audi R8 LMS Cup entry, that is Alex Au, and he shares that with Alex Jung, Malaysian racer, still waiting for those first flying laps to come in. But what we have here, we have Lamborghinis, Audis, Porsches, Ferraris, and there's an Aston Martin as well, of course. I don't know how the Audis are going to fare here. They're very, very strong indeed at Sepang, but in a straight line down the kilometre-long straight out of turn 1 up to turn 2, the Ferraris just seem to have quite an edge. And Aditya Patel, one of the two winners at Sepang, said they were 5 or 6 kilometres an hour slower down that first main straight yesterday. Maybe they've changed their wing angle, might reduce it today, but the Ferraris definitely had the upper hand there. Right, the first few flying laps have come in. 1 minute 34.02, that is the number 37 BBT Ferrari. Anthony Liu at the wheel. He will hand over for the second session for Davide Rizzo, but this session is all about the drivers nominated by the teams as driver number one. So there's 37 Ferrari on pole ahead of the number one Lamborghini at the moment. So Aussie racer Aidan Reid put in a good time. Hunter Abbott third fastest in that 999 Mercedes, and then we are looking down to car number 39, one of two Ferraris from Spirit of Race, and Zhang Jiang fourth fastest at the moment. So with 26 cars out to play, well, 25 because we're missing that 888 Mercedes. There is enough space around this 4.5 kilometre circuit for drivers to keep clear of the others. But don't forget, in this first ever Blancpain GT Series Asia, we have GT4 runners as well, so appreciably slower. They're about 15 seconds slower yesterday and again this morning, but in the race they will keep out of the way. They have their own battles. There are 5 GT4 Porsche Caymans and 21 GT3 cars. Very sinuous run of corners from turn 4 round a series of ponds, and basically it's tight and it's twisty. It does open a bit through turns 10 and 11, a long sweeper up a bit of a climb over a brow and then down for the final straight down to the last corner of the circuit. Looking now on the start-finish straight, high up view, you can see the drivers sweep out over the curbs on the exit of that final corner, turn 12, but do it too many times and you will have your best time removed. There's one of the GT4 Porsche Caymans being driven very carefully and nicely within the boundaries of the circuit. There, that's grey and blue, that's EKS Motorsport. That is the number 10 entry, and at the moment we have Tony Fong at the wheel. Still fastest, that 37 Ferrari. Hunter Abbott has just improved to second place, but as he improves, the mark gets moved further ahead because Alex Liu in the number 37 entry showed it was no fluke winning at Sepang because he's extended his advantage. He's 1.077 seconds clear. Best of the GT4 runners is at the moment Jean-Marc Merlin, French driver in his 50s, he won't mind me saying. He is fastest at the moment ahead. That's for 77. That's Craft Bamboo Racing and Taiwan Top Speed Racing are next up. Number 5. This is one of the Audis that really started to challenge at Sepang. Marchi Lee drove a fantastic race. He's 5th fastest at the moment. But as you can see, he's got a sister car just up ahead of him, the number 6 Audi. They won't be holding each other up, but it's a question of where they find the gaggles of GT4 runners. In fact, they've got only GT3 cars up ahead, a couple of Ferraris further up the track, one of which is the Singer Motorsport entry, number 9. Seeing there, that's Voravud Pirompakti, one of 6 Thai drivers in the race. He is 6th fastest at the moment, lapping in the 1 minute 35s. The best time, 1 minute 33.994 seconds, a second clear. So Anthony Liu ahead of Hunter Abbott, Ferrari ahead of Mercedes. Lights flashing from Buriram Bhakti. He was very, very keen for the car in front to know he's there and move out of his way, but it's a very quick fire qualifying session. We're nearly halfway through this 15-minute session, and it's about making your time and not getting yourself tripped up. Those two Audis aren't delaying each other, lapping very much at the same pace. Marchi Lee is still 5th fastest, 1 minute 35.3 for him. There is the car with 2 race liveries, its own livery, which is the orangey red stripes on top of the graphite, and the yellow on the front and the back indicates the parts taken from 888, the sister car, and that's going to have to sit it out until the spare parts. Oh, we have a spin of one of the GT4 Porsches, able to rejoin, plenty of space, but you can see it compromised, unfortunately, a lap for one of the Audi R8s. That's number 59, which is another of the Buriram Bhaktis. And that's Burit Buriram Bhakti, Singer Plan B Motorsport, an all-Thai lineup. He's sharing that with fellow Thai racer Kantasuk Kusiri, will be out in practice number 2. GT4 cars look sort of less extravagant. The Porsche Cayman Club Sport Racer, just a small rear wing. Obviously the wings on the main GT3 races, as you can see in shot, are rather larger, and you can tell it most particularly from that front end view. Well, rather interestingly, the best lap time of 1 minute 33.994 has been removed from our poles, the car heading for pole 37, but its next best time is only, if you want to deal with fractions of a second, 0.026 of a second slower. So 2 good laps from Anthony Liu, but one of them has been removed for the BBT Ferrari, no doubt for driving out beyond the edge of the circuit, and there he is. He's not going to be setting any quick times at the moment because he's stuck in some slower traffic. In fact, he's doing what I think you're supposed to do, which is make position on the circuit, make the gap. So he's hanging back through the turn 3 hairpin. Oh dear, bodywork rubbing on, and maybe a flat tyre as well. Oh dear, for the 17 GT4 Porsche. That's Taiwan Top Speed Racing. That was second quickest in class. And unfortunately for Keo Chang, that is definitely a little low on that driver's right rear tyre. Now it looks as though the Singer Motorsport Ferrari, the red and white one, has got clear track space. Ahead of it's got GT4 Cayman behind it as it goes through turn 7, and this little short blast up and over a little tiny ridge, and you drop down, as you can see, to turn 8, another short little straight, turn 9, and then you get this wonderful sweeping sector of corners there. Going around the Porsche that's trying to limp its way back. It's very quick indeed, and just the point it is here, that's where the 888 Mercedes got it wrong yesterday, clouted the barriers and did the damage that involved Gruppe M Motorsport having to swap things around. So for Tim Sugden, one of the people who put the team together, and Jules Simkowiak, they've had to stand down today. Well, just nothing worse for a driver than having to be at a circuit and not go racing. But they will tomorrow, providing the right parts arrive on the flight from Berlin to Bangkok. Haven't seen so much of Vincenzo. Well, in fact, Vincenzo Spirit Motorsport has got a Lamborghini here, but that's one of 2 from FFF Racing Team by ACM. That's Aidan Reed, who was going well at the start of this session. He's down now in 6th position, 1 minute 35.097. fact, while that's been happening, Hunter Abbott has just closed the gap, halved the gap from the provisional pole sitter. So the 999 Mercedes now just over half a second down. That number 1 Lamborghini we were looking at, Aidan Reed, in 6th position at the moment. He's a further half second back. Very tight indeed, but right now it must be said the 37 Mercedes is looking very good indeed. Great livery on that number 1. Black FFF racing team. Lamborghini Huracan, as you can see, livery of its sponsor, black with a very fancy pattern. Always worth getting to look at these cars at the standstill in the pit lane, get some photos, but I love seeing them out on the circuit. Some liveries work supremely well, others, they work better when standing still in the pit lane. And now we have a new car in 2nd place, because suddenly 38, one of the 2 Spirit of Race Ferraris, makes it a Ferrari 1-2. Rino Mastronardi, Italian racer, he's now 0.310 of a second down. So that means Reed in that number 1 Lamborghini we're watching now with just 3 minutes and 20 seconds still on the clock, has been pushed back to 7th place overall. So it's Anthony Liu leading the way from Rino Mastronardi, and then Hunter Abbott in the one and only Mercedes that's out to play today. So it doesn't look as though Lamborghini is heading towards pole position at the moment. In GT4, it's still Jean-Marc Merlin in the number 77 Cayman. Now, I haven't seen so much of the Porsches, not the Porsche Caymans. That's one of the crews. That's Douglas Koo from Malaysia, brought into the car this weekend after driving the opening round. He's the slowest of all at the moment. Keeping out of the way as a GT3 Porsche comes past. That's number 8. That's from Est-Cola, one of the Thai entries. That's Butikon Interafasuk, who's sharing with French racer Maxime Juice. And just outside the top 10, and that's with Interafasuk. Final 2 and a bit minutes remaining in session. Anthony Liu, 1 minute 34.020. Then Rino Mastronardi, 1 minute 34.331. Mitch Gilbert suddenly looking very threatening indeed. He's just moved up into 3rd place ahead of Hunter Abbott, so that's a place change. Number 86, OD Racing Team Audi, running in a grey livery. That has gone up. It won the first race at Sepang, 2nd in the championship leading car, because it was 2nd in the 2nd race, and now showing some very quick times, except the start of this flying lap, but he had just slotted himself into 3rd place overall. 39, that's been looking good all meeting, but at the moment it's not so close to the top end. Over a second out for the 2nd of the Spirit of the Race Ferraris. That's Zhang Jing. Yeah, no improvements there. In fact, as we said, that there was an improvement. Sorry, late time coming up. So up into 5th place overall for the number 39 Ferrari. And then clipping the curb, kicking up the dust. There is a bit of dust if you go off the racing line. Just over a minute to go until the checkered flag will be flown. 39 Ferrari doesn't look like a quick start to this lap, but its last lap was its best, 1 minute 34.7. You can see that put him up to 5th place overall. Still Liu ahead of Mastronardi, Gilbert, Abbott, and now Zhang. And this next lap from Zhang, nowhere near as quick as its best. So I think that possibly was the shot. Just trying to see if anybody is, quite a few of the runners are now coming into the pit. Certainly the car on provisional pole. Anthony Liu in that 37 Ferrari, the red and yellow entry from BBT Racing Team. That has parked up in the garage. Rino Mastronardi still on circuit, but was a slowish lap. He might be reporting into. I think a car to maybe look out for is the number 6 Audi. Alex Au, there's the 19 sitting in pit lane, one of a whole host down there, but that hasn't run well. That's a Japanese crew. They're down towards the tail of the class. Next 10 seconds or so, the checkered flag will come out. Looking for any late improvements. Right, Mitch Gilbert's just set his fastest first sector. He's 3rd fastest at the moment. Has to find half a second to go towards the very top of the charts. Nothing that the number 37 Ferrari can do. So 39 coming in. So that shot is run. The checkered flag is out. Now it's a question of who is still out on the circuit. Car 39 actually has got to report to the stewards after the session. So they may yet be moved back down the order. The number 9 Ferrari working its hardest on home ground, but outside the top 10 in the hands of Vorovod Pirompakti. Still GT4 class winner, leader in the pits now, number 77. It's just a question of Rino Mastronardi on this final flying lap is on an absolute flyer in the 38 Ferrari, Spirit of Race. Entry, that's their silver one. We've just seen the black and turquoise and white one that's got to go and report to the stewards. But suddenly Rino Mastronardi, fastest first sector of all. It was a very good looking lap from Mitch Gilbert. He didn't improve by the smallest of margins. Was there a late improvement for Alex Au? There is his Audi. No. And what's coming in the middle section? Not the best middle section at all. Looks like Rino Mastronardi may have had promise at the start of the lap, but it does look as though the number 37 BBT Ferrari crew has got it right. The last few cars just coming down the dash towards the final corner. There's a GT4 runner in the way of one of the pair of KCMG cars, but flashing up in the background is the 38 Ferrari. It won't be blocked. It's in turn 12 now, coming out, accelerating up to the start-finish line. Rino Mastronardi, how good was that lap? Just waiting for the... well, he was 3/10 down on his best, so it was Anthony Liu who took pole position. And don't forget, the team doesn't get to celebrate for very long at all. That will be pole for this afternoon's race. But, of course, they've only got a 10-minute gap, and then drivers number 2 take the cars over and go out to set the grid for yet tomorrow's race. We now have the grid for this afternoon's race, and it's Anthony Liu on pole position ahead of Rino Mastronardi, Mitch Gilbert, Hunter Abbott, and Zhang Jing. And a good run there from Alex Au, but didn't quite link it up at the end, and ends up around about 10th place. There's the number 6 Audi looking great with the livery. Letting us all know around the world about the Audi R8 LMS Cup. A lot of the drivers here in this championship have raced in that over the past few seasons. So that's the third ever qualifying session for the Blancpain GT Series Asia, and the fourth one will follow in a few minutes' time. But its advantage, it's Ferrari, Audi, Mercedes at the top, showing that wonderful mixture. All the fear that the Ferraris might run away with it because they're so good in a straight line down that long run from turn 1 through the kink at 2. Up to turn 3, but through the twisty bits, it's the Audi you really seem to want. And perhaps the best balance in between is the Mercedes as well. Only one out to play at the moment. That was Hunter Abbott, but he'll be handing the car over to Maxi Buch, who is an absolute superstar in Mercedes. And let's see what he can do in session number 2. But session number 1, we now have the order for the grid for this afternoon's race. And it will be the 37 BBT Racing Ferrari on pole position, 38, one of the 2 Spirit of Race Ferraris in second. Someone coming in, I think, taking himself for an extra lap or 2 out on the circuit. A couple of the Ferraris. Oh, actually, no, that was 38 coming into the pit lane, and the number 9 Ferrari in the background of shot. There they are. They must have been the last ones to take the checkered flag. So 26 cars in the pit lane, 1 in the pit garage, which is the 888 Mercedes. Didn't get out to play. Parts were taken off that to go on the 999 sister car, and that's gone well for the 999 crew, 4th fastest overall. So the silver Ferrari, that's the one, number 38, that was 2nd quickest. And it might look calm down in the pit lane, but it's calm before the storm, if you wish, because, of course, these cars are about to go out with the 2nd drivers. And we're all set, of course. After this is over, the teams will prep the cars ahead of this afternoon's race that starts at 3:20 in terms of the actual moment the lights turn green on the gantry, but of course the preamble starts long before that. So there is the grid order. 37 Anthony Liu ahead of Rino Mastronardi. 2nd row, the Audi, they're both in Ferraris. 2nd row, it's Gilbert and Abbott. So we've got the variety of Audi and Mercedes on the 2nd row before the 3rd of the Ferraris, Xinjiang. And Martin Kodrick ended up the best placed. Lamborghini in 6th place overall. There is the car that was fastest, Anthony Liu. He will hand that over now to Davide Rizzo. They've already tasted victory. And from a commentator's point of view, that car looks fantastic. You can pick it out day or night with that wonderful day glow livery. Nice and clean there. 39, they ended up 5th fastest, but don't forget they have to go and see the race stewards. Can't tell you as yet what the punishment might be, or indeed what the crime was that they need to discuss could have been, but find out more. But certainly one thing that, particularly in GT3 racing, people are very, very keen on is not transgressing, i.e. keeping 2 wheels on the circuit at all time. 2 wheels over the curbs, over the white lines, that's acceptable. All 4 wheels beyond the white line on the edge of the circuit, and you will be punished. So I said it all looked calm down there, and the storm would follow. There's only a 10-minute gap between the moment the checkered flag falls at the end of qualifying session number 1 and the start of qualifying session 2. So they're now jockeying for position. We've just changed over the drivers, and they will be out onto the circuit. Of course, they have to wait to be signalled out, coming up in a handful of moments' time. Fast lane is open. You can see the marshals at pit exit putting up the boards. There was a 5-minute board that's been held. That's now being dropped. The next one he'll reach. He's going to count them the whole way down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, etc. But having got used to drivers who are out in session number 1, we have to swap it all over. For example, Darrell Young will have handed over the Craft Bamboo Racing Porsche at pit exit. Right there, it's going to lead them out, and it will be change over to Devin Modell, British driver, who's come on board this weekend. Two Porsches at the front end, and then that 37 Ferrari at the very front. Track conditions around this 12-turn circuit all seem to be absolutely fine. In fact, everyone behaved very well indeed, so I don't think we had any particular debris put on circuit there. Plenty of runoff for a lot of the corners around here at this very modern circuit. Chang International Circuit, 12 corners, twisting around a series of ponds, and as you can see from certain sections on the circuit, there's quite a lot of cornering that needs to be done early in the lap. Keeps the drivers on their toes. It's a very, very technical track. They start off easy with a fairly simple first turn, about just under 80 degrees, kink to the right. There's a bit of a kink to the left down the straight. It's a kilometre in which they can relax, check the gauges, and then into that tight hair. Well, actually, it's not a particularly tight hairpin. Turn 3, and then they double back down, another straight up to turn 4, and that's where they start to have to really, really work to get their cars balanced, because it's very tight and twisty. Around a series of ponds. My map has pond 4, pond 3, pond 2. I can't find pond 1, but anyhow, like quite a lot of circuits, there's water evolved on the infield. Don't forget Interlagos in Brazil, between the lakes. A couple of British circuits, Mallory Park, Alton Park, they've got lakes with them. And, well, of course, the biggest lake in any circuit, there's a pretty big one at Melbourne in Albert Park, but Ennapagusa, built around a lake out on Sicily. Very quick circuit around the outside. 2 minutes to go until we go out for qualifying session number 2. And Devin Modell would have the advantage of trying to keep that 99 Porsche 991 at the head of the queue. Tucked in behind is the sister car from Craft Bamboo Racing, and that will be Christa van der Drift, taking over the car this weekend, taking over the second drive in that. New Zealander. And then Davide Rizzo in that red and yellow Ferrari, number 37 in the background. Nice, simple qualifying format for the Blancpain GT Series Asia. No adding together of times. Simply the driver's time from session 1 forms the grid for race 1. The driver's time from session 2 forms the grid for the second race. And the driver who set this qualifying time, i.e. driver 1 for race 1, will start the race. And of course, they all swap over at the pit stops. KCMG, such a strong force in racing in the Far East. And they have 2 of the Audi R8 LMSs. Yeah, in Thailand at the Buriram circuit. Quite a few of the crews still working on their cars, or just keeping them as cool as possible in the pit lane, but certainly Craft Bamboo Racing want to get out on the track as soon as they can, as soon as they are signalled to do so. They're within the final minute. A handful of Ferraris up on the jacks in the background, including the red and white version, number 9, that went very well towards the end of that session. Singer Motorsport. Final few seconds. Switch on your lights, all the cars have been told. All these messages drop onto the screen, and of course the team managers signal them then to their drivers through the radios. 86, that was one of the 2 winners at the opening round. Driving past the full pit lane, you can see the cars actually lined up, ready to leave from the smaller pit lane, which is where the Lamborghini Super Trofeo cars are kept. Now, session underway, so we won't get any times until these have been past the checkered flag, not once but twice. They had this out lap, and then they'll really start to wind it up on the second lap. But it's the 99 Craft Bamboo Racing Porsche that leads away at the start of qualifying session number 2. all the driver names you got to learn in the first qualifying session, you can forget them. Those are the teammates who are now standing considering whether to have coffee or perhaps lunch in the pit lane. But of course, no, not at all. They'll be watching the timing screen, watching how their cars behave. Very few drivers have actually competed here before, so they're all still learning the circuit every time they go out. And I must say the track is in very good condition. 12:15 here at the Chang International Circuit at Buriram. And it was a very clean first session. So let's hope this one is just packed with wonderful laps rather than any particular incident. We did have one of the GT4 Porsches limping back with a right rear puncture. Won't have helped its cause. And having been the first car out of the pit lane, the 99 Porsche, the yellow and green one, is dropped back already. The 37 Ferrari in the hands of Davide Rizzo has gone from third in the queue to the front of the queue, so expressing his desire to get on and out them. And the Lamborghini number 66 has also decided to get a move on and pass those two Porsches, and this should now be Sandy Stuvik, 22-year-old Thai driver, at the wheel. The number 5 Audi, looked at there, that's Sean Thong, has taken that over. That's from Audi Hong Kong. The Audis yesterday and today most notably looked very, very useful indeed through the tight, twisty section in the middle part of the circuit. Sean going out to the white line and not beyond, which is exactly how the race stewards. That's through the final corner. It's about 100-degree right-hander, so tight, and we've seen a lot of drivers going out over the curbs, and I'm sure that is one of the likely offences for anybody who's been called to the steward. And the 39 Ferrari is the car that most definitely has been called to the steward. Right now, though, for Massimiliano Weiser, he can't focus on that. He's got to focus on what he's got to do in qualifying session number 2. So Marchi Lee in the number 5 Audi, Max Weiser just tucked up behind in the Spirit of Race Ferrari. Around the long hairpin at turn 3, and they start accelerating back. Eventually, when they go about to the point, you can see them now on the screen, they come back into my sight, so the red and yellow Ferrari sweeping down into turn 4 past one of the ponds. In fact, you can't see the pond, it's just in behind the barriers there, on driver's left. Turn 5, and what the Ferrari driver did not want was a slower car right in front of him as he exited the corner, but the GT4 Porsche kept out of the way. They came into about 14-15 seconds slower. So the first driver who's going to be setting a flying lap in this session will be the driver number 37, Davide Rizzo. The target time, it was originally a 1 minute 33.9, but don't forget that the best time was taken away. So 1 minute 34.0 was the best time in qualifying session 1, but it's not a case of beating that. These are totally separate sessions. So 99 has not been quick since it went out in the hand of Devon Modell. Maybe he's just learning the track, keeping out of the way, getting tyres up to heat. He's let about 5 or 6 cars going through, including that CMRT Eurasia Aston Martin. But the speed that Modell's driving that car doesn't look as though he's trying to get track position or a gap. He's bringing it home, turn 11 down the hill. At this rate, he's bound to be turning into pit entry unless he just is gathering his thoughts. I have to stand up in my commentary box to see if he's coming into the pits. Entrance. No, I think it was track space through the final corner, so we'll watch out for that. But right now the first times are on the board, and it's as expected, number 37, the BBT Ferrari with Davide Rizzo, 1 minute 34.4 seconds. He's 2/10 quicker than Max Weiser in the 39 Spirit of Race Ferrari, and Aditya Patel, OD Racing Audi in 3rd place. Those are the first flying laps from the top handful of cars. Number 9 Ferrari on his out lap, so a handful of cars came out a lap behind the others, so we'll keep an eye. There is, and that's why he's weaving from side to side, the out lap for the Thai-based Dutch driver, and a lot of his racing in the Far East. And based in Thailand now for 3 years. In fact, spent a lot of his time coaching his teammate, Vorowud Pirompakti, and now they're racing together. Now the yellow and green Porsche number 99, and that is starting to wind itself up to speed. Its first flying lap was not a good one. We thought there might have even been a problem. But that and its teammates, and you can see the black and white Porsche tucked in behind, simply were working on track position. 37, it was the fastest, but it's been bumped not just by the number 7 Absolute Racing Audi, but number 18 KCMG Audi as well. But now, excuse me, 999 Maxi Book, I said watch out for him. 1 minute 33.904. He's 19 1/1000ths ahead of Martin Rump, so a very good lap from Estonian racer Rump in the KCMG by Champion Racing Audi. Took it over from Rick Yoon, who drove the first part of the session. Number 9 Ferrari trying to work its place out on the circuit. The 17 GT4, that's in the GT4 class. The Porsche going slowly, well, as fast as it can, but just shows the difference between the GT4 and the GT3 pace. I don't know how close it is at the top, I'll tell you. 0.03 of a second is the gap between first and third. Maxi Buch, Martin Rump, Davide Rizzo, Mercedes, Audi, Ferrari. That's how it goes at the moment. Will we get improvements? I most certainly think we will, because already Buch has set his fastest first sector, his fastest second sector. Now, unfortunately, he's got a Lamborghini in front of him, but the 999 Mercedes from Gruppe M Motorsport, carrying a bit of the bodywork off the sister car. You can see the yellow flashes on the nose and on the tail. That means it's been taken from 888, which sadly will languish in its garage. Oh, yeah, I said there's going to be quite a lot of heat in the cockpit of Maxi Buch. Is a very cool character, but this lap has been scuppered, unfortunately, with the final 3 corners by getting too close to one of the FFF Racing Mercedes. So what looked like a very good lap indeed has been cost, but now Buch is starting to wind it up. So next time around will be the one at count. But he's got to improve, because he's now down in second place, because Alessio Picariello for Absolute Racing has just gone fastest, 1 minute 33.741. Now we have the top 5 cars covered by 0.211 of a second, and Van Dam is the driver of the car in 5th place. 86 at the moment. Aditya Patel, he's in the Audi there behind the GT4 Porsche, is tumbling way down the order. He's down in about 9th position at the moment. Don't forget, this won the opening round. This is the championship leading car, the 86 Audi from OD Racing. He's got a Spirit of Race Ferrari up ahead of him, but now he's, as long as that Spirit of Race Ferrari is lapping at full-on pace, which I think it is, but certainly Patel, the Indian racer, is closing right in there. That doesn't look very quick at all from 38. In fact, he was very kindly keeping out of the way. So that was Rui Aguas, not on a fast flying lap, did the gentlemanly thing, and now we've got the 66 Lamborghini. That's not slowing to let people by. That is seemingly slowing with a problem. And is marked as having stopped at the exit of turn 6. No, I think there's a problem on one of my screens, but it was certainly going very slowly indeed. So 1 minute 33.576, Alessio Picariello goes fastest and then improves his mark yet more. 39 Ferrari started to pick up its skirts and run. That's 6th fastest at the moment for Max Wieser. So that's been competitive. And how good was that lap from Maxi Buch? 1 minute 33.893, that was its best lap, but it still puts him 0.3 of a second down on the number 7 Audi of Alessio Picariello. Belgian racer. Number 5, that is Sean Thong. He's down in 7th position at the moment, 0.8 of a second down on pole position. This session was always going to be the one that was tighter between the top runner and those that are giving chase. This is more where you've got the more pro drivers in this. Some of the AM drivers were in the first session, so the times not only should be faster, and they are by about half a second, but the times tend to be that a bit closer. The 999 Mercedes, nice clear circuit ahead of it, and still, well, that first sector wasn't brilliant. The number 7 there is the fastest car at the moment. He's got a GT4 car right behind it, having just passed it, but Alessio Picariello, Belgian racer in the PTT Lubricants sponsored car. J-Fly by Absolute Racing, that's the crew that are running it. But car looks very, very nice indeed, I must say. Great livery there. And fastest lap 1 minute 33.576. What will this one be? He doesn't look quite on that same pace. No, he's 0.8 of a second down, but you can see how traffic plays quite a role in this. You can have a wonderful first 10 corners and catch a couple of cars through 11 and 12, and your time is out the window. Now, a car that showed great speed. We talked about the speed of the Ferraris on the long run from turn 1 to turn 3. The fastest car through that sector last time around with Carlo Van Dam in that number 9 Ferrari, but still only 5th quickest. Good chance to see the run from turn 3 to turn 4. You can see it comes over a crest. Now, number 5 Audi still trying to get a bit closer to that Sean Thong 38 Ferrari. That's 2nd fastest now. Suddenly, Rui Aguas slots in a very quick time. He's now 0.168 of a second down on the fastest Audi, the fastest car of all, Alessio Picariello. So let's just take a little look of the circuit. This is the run out of turn 1 through the kink on the kilometre long straight up to turn 3. You can take 2 bites the corner, and the Portuguese racer Aguas bites the first part, quite wide on the second bit. There's enough pace, and the curves are not aggressive at all, so he could use those on the exit. And how good was that? Well, he's just at his fastest first sector, where the Ferrari's at its strongest, down the run up towards turn 3. Now, flashing through turn 4, the track starts turning left, and it's a real case of getting the balance right for turns 5 and 6. Turns in nice and tight for the first part. Yeah, he's got the car on a good trajectory through turn 6 as well, and the track keeps on twisting into 7. And it goes up over the slight rise, then drops down to turn 8. And Aguas very precise over the curbing. The stewards will like that. Cars 39 and 1 at the moment have been warned for track limit offences. They won't be alone. Car number 5 has just joined them on the screen for the same, but right now, not car number 38. And while this is happening, as Aguas goes towards the end of a lap, he's just been pushed back by Alex Young. So it's the 7 Audi ahead of the 6. There is the 6. You can see how hard Alex is pushing, just trying to get the car down, brake down to low enough speed for turn 3. First part, second part, all negotiated. But you can see that Audi R8 really starting to squirm. 3.5 minutes left on the clock until the checkered flag comes out. Alex Young, well, that wasn't his fastest first sector, just down on his very best. But he is now just 0.105 of a second slower than Alessio Picariello, who's in the pits at the moment. So he's got a chance on this lap. Alex Young does, to see if he can fight his way back, going through turn 5, 6. Now he's got to start arcing towards the right at turn 7. A little bit of a drop on the inside of the corner, then over a very slight rise, then drop down to turn 8. But the key thing is not only has he got no track ahead of him, no people on track ahead of him, but Alex just set the fastest mid-sector of anybody. Can he be going to pole position? He's got 0.105 of a second to claim off Alessio Picariello. Alessio can't fight back. He's sitting in the pit lane. And what will Young do as he comes down from turn 11 down the slope to turn 12? Can he get himself up to the very top of the timing screens? He's second fastest at the moment in the number 6 Audi. Will the Audi R8 LMS Cup entry go to the top? 1 minute, just waiting for that time to come up on screen. No, it won't. I'm afraid he lost something towards the end of the lap and a little bit in that opening stint, but he's still got time on the clock to do it again because he's got nobody up ahead of him. This is what drivers want in a session. They just want the clear track. Out of turn 1, no problem. Up the run all the way to turn 3, looks so it's completely clear. But don't forget, with the GT4 runners lapping more than a dozen seconds slower around the course of one of these 4.554 kilometre laps, there could be someone up ahead. But Alex seems to have waved some sort of magic wand. He has a clear track. Number 5 still trying to wind itself up to speed, just around 10th place for Sean Thong in his Audi, in the GT4 car in his way. You can see that's at the back of the shop. Up ahead he's got the number 1 Lamborghini, and that looks like it's moving slowly towards the edge of the circuit, letting it go through. So that's Alberto Di Folco keeping out of the way. And the black Huracan, one of 3 Huracans in this race. 2 from FFF Racing, and 1 from Vincenzo Sospiri Racing. And the best place of those is Sandy Stuvik, Thai racer, 12th quickest in the car from the Sospiri stable. Maxi Book, ladies and gentlemen, is starting to wind it up around this lap. He's just set his fastest lap. Top 4 cars covered by 0.161 of a second. How close would you like it to be? And Carlo Van Dam still plugging away, still the quickest down that first sector, but loses out in sectors 2 and 3. All race circuits around the world are split into 3 timing sectors. Always provides interest out around the circuit, particularly for commentators. We can work out where they're going a bit faster than their rivals. The number 10 GT4, that is the fastest in class. That's from EKS Motorsports and Eric Lowe at the wheel, going through the twisters towards the end of the lap. Over the curb on the inside at turn 11. Luckily not at the outside. Is this going to be an improvement from Eric? Well, he said his fastest first sector. His best time at the moment, 1:47.84 seconds, which puts him about 0.15 of a second ahead of his rivals, so it's close in GT4 as well. Red and white Ferrari, that is hoping in the hands of Carlo Van Dam to continue to improve. He's down in 7th place at the moment, but it doesn't look as though it's coming at the moment, and the checkered flag should be out for the drivers as they come round at the end of this lap. So is it going to be pole position for Picariello? Well, I tell you, it's got much closer because Maxi Buch in the 999 Mercedes has just gone into second place, 0.071 of a second behind. So the top 4 cars now covered by 0.151. So Buch has put the Mercedes up onto the front row. Will it stay there? Well, it will, because Alex Yoong has pitted and so has Rui Aguas. So Buch could yet take pole position. He's still got this flying lap to complete. Hasn't taken the checkered flag, so this will be drama if he can come up right at the end. The 88 Porsche, that hasn't quite been at the party, and Chris van der Drift outside the top 10 in 12th place overall and bringing it back into the pit lane. So only a handful of cars still out on circuit. Maxi Buch, though, doesn't look as though he's going to be able to do it. To take pole position, his first sector not his best, his second sector not his best, and he will come across the start-finish line and prove it. So it does look as though Q2 would have gone the way of Alessio Picariello, hanging on, but it was super close at the top as the final few cars come round to complete their sessions. Just want to check that that Mercedes does pull off into the pit lane. So it does. So that now we know the final order at the end of qualifying 2. This is for tomorrow's race, the race on Sunday. It's Alessio Picariello who's top in the number 7 Audi for Absolute Racing. Maxi Buch moved up to second place in the Group M Motorsport Mercedes. Alex Yoong looked great in that session. He's third fastest for Audi. Rui Aguas in the best of the Ferraris. Well, there we are. They are in 4th and 5th positions because Davide Risso is in 5th. The number 18 Audi, 6th fastest in the hands of Martin Rump. And then Carlo Van Dam, 7th fastest. And we have Max Visa in 8th place. So what we had there was a case of it wasn't the Ferraris ruling the roost, the Audis really starting to come good, and Mercedes showing they have great pace too. And so that's it. The qualifying is done. Time for lunch. Time for the teams to think about their cars. Now we'll be back for racing. Program starts at 3 o'clock. Race start 3:20.